Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Speak Up Sis YouTube channel. This is the Everyday Woman series, Lessons Lived, Laughed, Learned, and I am your host for the month of September, Angel Charmaine. I'm also CEO of Speak Up Sis LLC. Thank you all so much for sticking it out with us all month long. We are now on day 28. Can you even believe it? We only have 2 more days left in the month to hear other women share lessons that they have lived, laughed, and learned through. This has been a phenomenal month, and I am just grateful and I'm honored that you all have trusted the Speak Up Sis platform to share your stories and to be vulnerable, transparent, and honest. And I also want to say thank you to those of you who've been showing up every single night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear these women's voices and to support this platform. I really, really appreciate you. So tonight we've got an amazing woman who's going to share with you all. I'm really excited to hear what it is that she has to say. We were kind of chopping it up backstage before we started, and she's like ready. Okay, so I need y'all to hold on tightly because she's gonna come in and she's running tonight. But before we do that, I would like to thank our day 28 sponsor, Living Life on Your Terms. Miss Karen Hargreaves is the owner of that business. And listen, she does a lot. All right. So I want you all to make sure that you check her out. But in a nutshell, I want to say to you that she's a consultant. She helps you with self-reliance, natural living, and living life on your own terms. She is someone who has been taught by her grandmama to learn how to live on what God has created for us to live on, right? To be able to get back to living on the earth and being self-reliant and cooking our own food, growing our own food, and all those good things, and just living your life on your own terms, not on somebody else's terms. So sounds like a pretty awesome business to me. Karen, thank you so much for sponsoring day 28 and supporting Jennifer Jerald tonight. So her information is going to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen tonight during the broadcast. Please make sure that you jot it down and check her out, and make sure you let her know that you saw her information on Speak Up Sis. All right. So let's go ahead and meet the woman you all came here to meet tonight. How you doing, Jennifer?
Hey, girl. I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here. Woo-hoo.
I'm excited to have you here. So when I have an opportunity to just share a little bit of how I know a person, I like to do that. I think it helps people to understand where the chemistry and things like that come from, right?
Yeah.
So you all don't know this, but I participated in a program, and Jennifer was actually one of the instructors in this program. And when we first met, it wasn't a good thing. Like, I wasn't happy with Jennifer. And Jennifer, I'm not gonna say she made me cry, but I'm gonna I'm gonna say I'm gonna say doing the work that Jennifer required led me to shed some tears because I had to be vulnerable and in a way that I don't typically like to be vulnerable. However, it has most definitely helped me to be able to stand in this place and help you all to do the thing that I had to do. So I bless God for you, Jennifer. And I thank you for what you do and all that good stuff. So welcome to my platform, Speak Up Sis.
Girl, you're going to make me cry. Hold on. I got to do the girl thing. Put the tears back. Thank you so much for sharing that, Angel. That just makes my heart just say thank you. Because sometimes, we do what we do and we wonder who it touches. And so thank you for that, because that puts a smile in my heart and lets me know that I'm on the right path and the universe is guiding me and I'm listening. So that just, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. I bless God for you. And your work. So, are you ready? Because they want to hear from you, not me tonight.
I,
So,
you know what? I am ready. I'm ready. It's time to speak up. It's time to talk about something that I haven't openly talked about
okay.
On a public platform. So I'm excited to be able to share this space with all of our friends here tonight, because this is going to be 150 degrees vulnerable right here.
That's what we
That's
like
what
here.
this story is all about, the lessons that we've lived through, that we've laughed through, and that we've loved through. So yes, I'm excited and I'm ready.
All right. Well, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for supporting this incredible movement. Really, that's what this is. For Angel to be so committed, and all of you to be so committed to show up every night for 30 days in a row. Look, my eyes are watering, and I'm so excited to be here. And I'm excited to be here because 6 years ago, today and tonight would never have been an option. It was 103 degrees outside, and it was 148 degrees inside my locked car after 2.5 hours. Death was imminent, and I had to make a choice: sit back and wait to die, or open that car door and choose to live. I felt dead inside already after years of multiple forms of abuse and a life filled with physical and emotional pain. And then let's add a little bit of mental illness on top of that too. But I chose life in that moment. Why? I didn't know why at the time, but I did know that I had 2 children who were waiting for me. They were depending on me. And what I know is that I locked myself in the car in the church parking lot. I didn't know if there was a God, but I thought, well, if there is a God, maybe I'll get halfway to heaven if I die at church. But God didn't let me die that day. He kept me alive just long enough to give me the strength to open my car door and begin my journey to healing and living. Now, I think about that comment, God kept me alive just long enough. And I talk about God as if he's always been this big, huge part of my life. And he has been in a lot of ways, but not the way that I see other people have God in their life. I was raised going to church every Sunday. I was taught to read my scriptures. I was taught to say my prayers. I was taught to exercise my faith, although I didn't really know what that was. My mom talked about God in our home as if he was living there. He was a guest at the dinner table, a guest at family prayer, a guest with us at church. But I didn't ever feel him there. And so when Angel asked us to talk about an experience where we had made a decision in our life, or a choice that we had to live through those consequences and the challenges that came with that, I chuckled a little bit because I thought, well, shoot, where do I start? There's a bunch of those bad boys in my life. But the more I really thought about what could I share today? What's the one decision that really made the biggest effect in my life? That decision was this one, because it affected everything else. All the other choices that took me down this path of, I thought it was a good choice, but then it ended up not being a good choice. And I thought it was going to be okay, but then it turned out not okay, was the fact that I decided early on in my life that there either wasn't a God, or that if there was a God, somehow I made it to his hit list, because my life had been nothing but tragedy and pain and sadness and sorrow and suffering. And I stopped praying. I didn't know what faith was, so I couldn't exercise it. I stopped reading my scriptures. They didn't make sense, or so I said. And I didn't do all these things because I felt like God wasn't really paying attention to me anyway. So as a result of that decision early on in my life didn't get easier. It didn't get smoother. It didn't feel better. But that didn't change my mind about God. I had made up my mind that God didn't love me, that God wasn't there for me. He was there for everybody else, but I had been so naughty and so bad and so horrible, apparently, in my life, that God didn't care. So 6 years ago, I'm locked in a hot car in the church parking lot thinking, okay, well, maybe if I die today, I'll meet God. And then we can have a conversation and I'll find out if he's real or not. But that didn't happen. I'm here. So recently, over these last 6 years, I've had a lot of time to sit and think and ponder. And I won't say pray because I didn't do a lot of praying until much, much more recently. And I thought, how am I going to make my life better? God left me a long time ago. But what I realized recently is that God didn't leave me. I left God. So I started learning how to hear him in a way that my heart knew was him, to lean in to him in the darkness and to let him lead the way. And I'm still practicing. I don't have this mastered. And there are days where I'm like, really? And I get a little bit mad. Anybody here can relate to that? Where we're just like, is there really a God? Because if there is, I'm pretty sure he forgot that I'm on this earth today. But I've also learned that as I lean in and listen to that still small voice and trust God more, that the more I fight to become a faithful follower of Christ versus listening to the world whisper and yell or scream in my ear with all of the things coming at us. How do we learn to listen to Christ? How do we learn to listen to God? And that's still something that I'm learning. I'm not going to sit here and stand here and tell you how to listen and learn and lean in and how it's going to happen for you, because it's personal. The way that still small voice talks to each one of us is so personal. But I've also learned that the harder I lean in to listen to the voice of God, the harder the adversary comes at me, the louder and the stronger. The pressure becomes so much more intense. But that's not a reason to give up. That's not the reason to abandon the call. Once we hear that call, we got to hang on for dear life, because the devil shakes in his shoes when we answer the call. And so if I just think about this for just a second, there's a reason that diamonds are as hard and incredible as they are. And if we know anything about diamonds, we know they are not created under serene and simple circumstances. They are created in intense heat and under enormous amounts of pressure. We are God's diamonds. How often have we heard someone say, oh, you're a diamond in the rough? I heard that just the other day and I thought, no, I'm not. I'm already a diamond. I'm already a diamond. So when someone says, oh, you're a diamond in the rough, say, no, I am already a diamond. My facets are merely being refined until I carry the fire of God in every single one of them. And my countenance reflects the face of God. Under the pressure of life, we are tried and tested, and sometimes in ways that feel so beyond our measure. And our hearts break and tears cover our cheeks. And we ask the question, why? Just recently, I was going through this incredible amount of pressure and I thought, oh, why, God, why? Now, Angel mentioned that I was an instructor in the course that she took, the program that she went through. And one of the things I talk about is that the victim says, why me? And the warrior says, show me. But I found myself saying, why? Why, God? Why? And a song, I'm a musician and I write music. And here are some of the words that came to that answer. As I penned the words to my new song, it's called Why. And it says, why does my heart break? Why must I cry? Why does my heart break? Today is the day I died. How often do we feel like we die inside? We think, I'm dead. There's nothing left. I can't go on. And we ask the question, today's the day I died. Softly the whisper answers my cry. This, my child, is why. Your heart breaks every time that you grow. Every time you let go, you cry. Your heart breaks so you can let me in. Today is the day I arrived. The scriptures tell us to be still and know that he is God. I don't sit still very well. I don't know about you. How about you? Do you like to sit still and be quiet? I don't. I like to fill the noise. I like to fill the silence with noise because sometimes the answers that come to me in the silence are scary because it's God's call. And when we don't sit still and we don't listen, we are missing out. And that has been one of my biggest, oh, wow, because I chose to turn my back on God. How many opportunities have I missed in my life? How many opportunities have I missed to grow, to be, to do, and to become what God has in store for me? And I can't answer that question. I don't think I want to know the answer. But I do know that throughout my life, as pain and suffering and tragedy and sorrow came my way, I felt like somehow God was punishing me versus just pressuring me to shine, to rise up like the diamonds that we are. Having lived through verbal, physical, and sexual abuse as a child, and then again as an adult, trusting that God had what was best in store for me was not something that came naturally. It became one of the greatest battles in my walk of faith. Who do I trust? How do I know if it's God's voice? How do I love without fear? How do I live without fear? How do I grow without fear? How do I trust without fear? Now, the answer for me was you don't. You do all of this with fear. The fear of God. Fear is false evidence appearing real, or face emotion and replace it. I learned that from one of my mentors, Dr. Joseph McClendon III. Face emotion and replace it. There's nothing that we're going to do in life that's super simple and comes without fear. So we take that fear, we put our arms around it, we breathe in and we breathe out, because the moment we start breathing in the face of fear, it becomes excitement. When we hold our breath, fear freezes us, dead in our tracks. But we don't have to stay stuck. We get to choose to live. We get to choose to rise from ashes to amazing. Rise is reflect, ignite, shine, and elevate. How can you put some shine on your diamond? By not doing what I did and turning your back on God. By not doing what I did and not answering the call. Friends, the only difference between a tragedy and a triumph in our life are the choices we make in between. I could have kept my back turned and my life could have been a tragedy. But I chose to exercise my faith, learn what that was, and rise from every experience that's happened for me to create in me the diamond that God had intended for me. So in the most poignant moments of life, when we question, do I live or do I die? Always choose life. Always choose to rise. Thank you.
Bravo. Listen, this is another one that I'm going to have to go back and watch and process, because I am listening, I'm chatting, I'm doing, and I'm just like, wait a minute, that's another good one. Oh, that's another good one. And I believe the wonderful women who are watching you tonight, listen, they are in the chat, honey. They are.
Oh my,
And
it's like popping. I was like, I can see it.
Are like, you're phenomenal and all that good stuff. Oh my goodness, the diamond analogy, it was different from what you typically hear, right? It was good, and from ashes to amazing, and it's just so many good things that I'm really honestly going to have to go back and listen to this one and sit with it, because there was so much just goodness. I bless God that He gave you the strength to not die in that hot car. I bless God, because your voice is definitely an asset and not a liability. What you have to say is most definitely important. And women, people in general, individuals in general, but women need to hear what it is that you have to say. And I'm just grateful that you said yes to the Lord, to say yes to me, and to share your story, or a piece of your story, here on the Everyday Woman series. Girl, my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you. And oh, friends, I wish I could have chatted while I was talking.
Yeah.
I did see the comments and I was kind of glancing.
Yeah, no, no. And
But
and just so that people who may be watching this can understand, this particular space, I don't allow the chatting, because I want you to sit and listen to the woman.
yeah,
I want you to, and sometimes when we've got other voices, even in the way of chatting, those voices sometimes will start to cancel out what
yeah,
it is that God wants you to say. And so when we're looking at the chat and we're responding to the chat and we're doing those things, then I believe it hinders the Spirit of the Lord from just using your mouth, because you've got other voices, right? So this platform allows the women or whomever's watching to simply listen to what you have to say, process it, digest it. And then I've already talked to Jennifer, and I've asked her to take a look in the chat, and she can respond to anyone that has maybe asked a question, or just, however she wants to respond to you. But when you show up to speak, I want people to hear you with no interruptions. Your voice is the voice that is necessary in the moment. Okay, so
thank you.
just
Yes.
in case anybody's like, why won't she let us talk? Because
Yeah. No, and it makes sense. And so I never want people to feel, because I spent a lot of my life feeling left out, unseen, and invisible. And so when the chat's coming in, I feel that little pull to make sure that you are seen. So for anybody who's watching, anybody who's commented, please know that I saw the comments coming through. You are not invisible. You are absolutely seen. You are magnificent.
Yes.
You deserve a standing ovation. And I pray that every morning you will wake up and wrap your arms around yourself, look yourself in the eyes in the mirror, and say, I love you, girl. We got this. Make the devil shake the minute your feet hit the floor, because we got work to do.
That's
You are
right.
all amazing.
You're all amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer. So we are done for the night, everybody, but we're not done for the month. We still have 2 days remaining. We have tomorrow, day 29, and we have day 30. So please show up for the women at the end of the month. It's something when your last name starts with a W, you're always like at the end and everybody's gone. So, so please show up for day 29 and day 30, women, and hear what it is that they have to say to you as well. I appreciate you all. Karen Hargreaves, thank you so much, owner of Living Life on Your Terms. You all, her information has been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Please make sure you jot it down. The video will be saved. Go check her out, patronize her business. And Karen, I thank you so much once again for sponsoring day 28 of the Everyday Woman series right here on Speak Up Sis YouTube. You all have a beautiful night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.